So a piece of Grand Valley's film history from 2010 was the Grand Valley Lip Dub. And that was, of course, directed by Greg Kort, who graduated in 2011. Hi, Greg.
Hi, nice to see you guys.
And produced in a lot of ways by Kim Roberts, who was at the faculty then and, of course, is a professor now. Yes. So first of all, what is a lip dub and what was going on at the time and how did we get involved with that?
Well, I guess first I'll start with saying that one of the co-director and co-producer of it as well was a buddy of at the time, Chris Coleman, and he actually showed me a lip dub for the first time. I think it was maybe in the spring of 2010, and it was I think it was Kelvin College's. Kelvin College did a lip dub, and it was pretty good. And he showed me that.
Was it Hope? I was thinking it was Hope, but you might be right.
They might have had one too, because it was a trend at the time, and a lot of people were doing them. But I think it was Kelvin's. But regardless, it was another local college, and it did a pretty good job. But we kind of saw it, and we're like, we could do this. We could do a better one. And I think we got the ball rolling that end of that school year in the spring, and we kind of planted the seed at some point in Kim's head, and she was fully supportive of our crazy, ambitious ideas. And over the course of that summer, we started lining things up. We got permission from the president at the time, President T. Haas, and we just started lining up the logistics for a fall shoot. I think we shot it early October or late September of 2010.
Yeah, the idea with the lip dub is, and I'll let Greg talk more about this, but it really had to be one shot, one continuous shot, could not be edited visually. The video could not be edited, but the audio could be. So you could dub in some audio, but you had to lip sync it in one shot.
Yep. That was the challenge and the fun of it. And it's kind of funny from looking at it from today, because it's kind of a predecessor to like all this TikTok stuff. I mean, those are essentially glorified lip dub videos, you know. But they were fun though, and I think what we tried to do with Grand Valley's was, and we can talk about how we started to come up with some of the things, but you know, the longer the better, right? The more impressive is how long you can do it without cutting. So we picked the song "Come Sail Away" by Styx, which is 7+ almost 8 minutes track, and I think at the time that might have been the longest one. I think Rob Bliss went on to do the Grand Rapids lip dub, which I think ended up being longer with American Pie, but we aspired to do a long one and be as ambitious as possible and pick a song that fit the school's brand and identity.
And what song was that, and how did you end up picking that song to represent, you know, the whole school?
Well, we had a bunch of meetings about it with Kim, and we had Mark and Ben at the time were involved, and 2 other classmates, and we were brainstorming different songs and, you know, the pros and cons of all those. And, you know, we were kind of marinating on some ideas, and then me and Chris, I think we were watching Freaks and Geeks, the show, the Judd Apatow show, Freaks and Geeks. I think it's the first episode or one of the early episodes. They go to like the prom or the homecoming, and they dance to "Come Sail Away," and it's a really funny scene. But anyways, I think that was kind of the inspiration. Like, oh my God, this song's kind of perfect. It's long. It's you know, everyone kind of knows it. It's easy to sing. It'd be easy for performers to get their lyrics quickly. And then the whole, you know, sailing and Lakers, and, you know, it just fit Grand Valley so well. So once we kind of heard that song and it popped in our heads, it just made sense.
And Kim, this was not just limited to the Grand Valley Film Department. We were also including, you know, everybody from the president to, you know, all of the departments. What did it take to bring all those people together?
Well, the planning was really all film video students. So Greg and Chris and Lucas and all of them, they really were working, and we just got so many people on board just to go to as many student clubs as we could to get people participated. We wanted to make sure we had people of color. We wanted to have all kinds of representation. We even found, as you look at it, you'll see that we even had someone who did sign language. So we just tried to just bring everybody in. And Tejas, as Greg was talking about, he was just all in when we took a little PowerPoint to his office and then showed him what we were thinking and showed him the route and all of that. And it took a lot. It took a really good fall day. It was a sunny day, and everyone kept saying to me, Kim, what are you going to do if it rains? And I would just say, it's not going to rain. It's not going to rain. And they're saying, come on, this is fall. You know, what are you going to do if it rains? It's not going to rain. But behind the scenes, while Greg and all of the film video students were really getting things down, Pat, we had to get walkie-talkies ordered, and none of us really, unless you'd worked on the summer film, none of us had really worked with walkie-talkies, so we had to practice. We'd practice late at night when it was dark, and we would mess around and have so much fun getting ready that when actually, and we'll get to this point, when we actually had an incident on the very first take, and they were saying some things on there, and I said, come on, you guys, you got to get serious. This is real now, so quit messing around. And Greg says, no, seriously, Kim. We hit Louis. So I thought they were kidding me and messing with me again, and they weren't. So that was pretty fun. But what I had to do behind the scenes is raise the money for all of these things. So it took several $100s, if I recall, maybe more, to be able to get the piano down, to retune the piano. So we had that beautiful piano at the very beginning of it. So anything that Greg came to me and said, this is what we want to do, this is what we need, or sometimes I would think of things like the confetti cannon, you know, and we had to rent that, and we had to rent confetti, and we had to buy all those umbrellas. So all those umbrellas had to be purchased. So where would we get the money for that? So I contacted the sports department. I contacted the history department. I contacted every department in College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, maybe even others. Got everybody I could on board, and got facilities on board. Tim Timish was fantastic support for us, and and the president was, you know, just giving us the nod, gave everyone else permission to send us money. So they just kept sending money to our department, and gosh, I think we even ended up with something like $2,000 more than what we needed to buy everything we needed. But we had to get the lift over there. That cost money. We had to hire people to work overtime. That cost money. We had to get security. We had to get all kinds of things. So that all cost a lot. So I had to make sure we had the budget for it.
Man, it really showed up.
Yeah, Kim did so much. Like, it can't even be understated that this thing would not have happened without Kim going out there and campaigning in the background and getting the whole school. Because the hardest part, really, besides all the logistics, was just like educating people on what we were trying to do. Yeah. And Kim was a huge part of that, and just getting all these departments on board, getting people to volunteer, while, you know, me and the other film students were just thinking of fun stuff to put on screen, and Kim was helping us actually making it a reality. So thank you.
They come to me and said, you know, we want to snorkel in the fountain. And I'm going, Greg, seriously, you want to snorkel in the fountain? No one's even allowed to go near that fountain. But I called Tim Timish. I said, the guys want to snorkel in the fountain, and he said, okay, does someone know how to snorkel? Well, we got someone who's got the equipment. So yeah, all of these funny things that happened, these guys came to me with the craziest, really fun ideas. So it was a really fun project to produce.
Yeah, I still hear, when I hear this song, I basically get PTSD now. Like, I can't even enjoy the song anymore, because I just get flashbacks to all the stress that was involved with it. But the video, it means a lot to me, though. It basically got me my current job. So for any film students out there that may be watching this right now, like, we did this video. You know, it wasn't for a class, it wasn't for credit, it was just for the fun of it, and because we thought we could, and it would turn out well. So I would just say, you know, try things, be ambitious, and take risks, because it's led to a lot.
Yeah. It was really, really fun. And what Greg maybe didn't know, but I had seen that lip dub, and I think you are right as I'm pondering this. I think it was Kelvin, but we had seen it, and it was going along through the faculty, and I had said, I wish our students would want to do that. That would really be fun. If I should ask them if they want to do it. And then, Greg and Chris came to me, and so it was like, okay, we've got some ambitious students. People are ready to go. So I'm going to help them because I want this to happen.
I didn't know that at all. What a great behind the scenes story.
Yeah.
Getting into some of those nuts and bolts logistics, Greg, what kind of rehearsals did it take? You mentioned a little bit, doing things at night. And then how many takes, the day of, like what did this thing take to make?
Well, the day of, we ended up doing 10 takes, if I remember correctly, and we ended up using the 7th take. At the first take, what Kim mentioned briefly, we actually ran over Louis the Laker, the mascot, in that first take. So it was hilarious after the fact, especially because no one was actually hurt. But during it was just like, oh my God, this is take 1, and we basically almost killed our mascot. Like, this is going to be a long day. But and that video is online as well. So if people get a chance, they should definitely check that out because it's quite funny. But in terms of rehearsals, I don't remember how many rehearsals it ended up being. It was like the week leading up to it. We did it a bunch. We were out there, in the evening. We had rented, part of what we had needed the money for was we rented this like electric golf cart, but it wasn't really a golf cart. It was like it was for like injured football players where they would have like a stretcher next to them. So, which was great for us because the flat bed of it allowed us to have a bunch of crew on there. And, we had me on there shouting at people. We had a person with a light and a generator. We had someone with a big, the amplifier to blast the music. So it worked for our needs, but we did that for maybe a week leading up to it, a bunch of nights. And we just did the course over and over again. And I think we broke down the path by sections, and each section was, from this time of the song to this time of the song. And I think we had different rehearsals for each section, and we just kept doing it over and over again until that section kind of felt good and tight. But it was a challenge though, and it wasn't always an exact science. Sometimes it was like, okay, floor it. We got to make up time here. We got to get to this next, beat in the song, or else we're going to be behind the rest of the song. So, but people just adapted, and we made do, and it really came together the day of. Like, I don't think we had in our rehearsals, it was never like the whole thing was there. It was kind of like the day of we'll have this, the day of we'll have that. And so it was a little bit of good faith that it was just going to come together. And the day of, like, we had all the umbrellas show up, but I think we were missing some umbrellas, Kim. Is that right? Didn't like a bunch get stuck in like a different country and we just made do with what was sent?
Oh, I don't recall that. I do know that we were looking for flags. And
right.
So that morning we thought, as somebody had mentioned, when we come off the bridge, we should have a whole bunch of flags to represent all of a bunch of our foreign students. And of course, my husband's all about that. So I sent him to the flag store, and he just got as many flags as he could, and then came back and got them. Maybe it was the day before, but it was that morning that he picked them up. So that was a last minute deal. And
there was all kinds of stuff. Like the day of, like I remember being surprised.
Crowds that we wanted. That was what we were really afraid of. But because the weather did turn out to be so nice, people were out, and we kept saying. And one of the things that I have to credit Greg for is that he really got a lot of buy-in from the students. So all those little parts of the route that he's talking about, he made like an assistant director. Okay, so you, Jackson, you're in charge of this stretch. This is yours. You direct this. And so they were the ones who, gave the actors or the singers or whatever the okay to move into the frame and move out of the frame, or when to come in and when to come out. Because there's no way that Greg could keep all of that going. He was on a moving vehicle, but they assigned someone for each little stretch, and that really helped.
Yeah, and they really did a great job. Like I can't even remember everyone now. It's been so long, but everyone's listed in the credits at the end though, and they did such a good job because they took ownership of their section. And I remember like when the camera, like on the bridge part, when our camera looks down over the bridge, like they made a little GV symbol out of rocks down there in the little ravine and stuff. Like they just add these little cute details and stuff that it just really made it every part special. And we, every part was supposed to represent different clubs and different groups of people at the school. And it was really great. And I want to shout out, it's at like, I was watching it earlier to jog my memory of everything at the, it's around like a 2-minute-ish mark. There's 2 students that are holding laptops, and they're actually Skyping the downtown campus. I forget who was on the other end, but it was someone at the downtown Grand Rapids campus. And it's funny because we just blow past them. Like you can't even see what's on the screen at all. But like that whole little section took its own little logistics to set up and coordinate. Yeah. And shout out to those people. We couldn't really see what they were doing, but everyone put in a lot of effort to make their little sections special.
Yeah, and if we could have edited that, we could have just dubbed that right in and showed downtown and showed what they were doing, but we couldn't do that. But even the deans, all the deans were there around the president and his wife, and they're all doing their thing with their arms up in the air. I don't know who directed them to do that, but they did their little thing, and then Tom and Marcia did their kiss. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really great.
And all of this like logistics and production all ended up paying off. This became national news. What were people saying, and what did that even feel like to have that blow up like that?
Well, it was crazy. I do remember we had a little. We were up late getting the video ready, and then and me and Chris's naiveness, we just went ahead and posted the video without getting it approved by Kim and everyone else that probably needed to see it. And I remember we posted it and we went to sleep, and I woke up to like 1 million messages of people saying it looked awesome. But Kim was also like, we got to take this down. Because we didn't have any, I don't think we had a thank you credits. We didn't put on it at the time. So we ended up having to take it down originally and re-put some credits on there as we should have. And we reposted it. So it lost a little bit of momentum, but eventually it caught steam again. And it got a lot of at least local press and some international. And it was crazy. It was like people were impressed by it. I think we had a couple of little interviews about it, and I ultimately ended up getting a job offer over it. So I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that you didn't know, Greg, is that the Padnos International Center, they use that for recruiting still today.
Oh, wow.
So Mark Schaub, he said whenever he goes overseas or he's talking to people when he travels and he's convincing them to come to Grand Valley, he said that is always his closer. So he still uses the Lip Dub as his closer.
I'm going to bring this up next time they call me for donations to the school. Yeah. I'm going to be like, I'm responsible for untold recruitment.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And then the graduation books that they have, where they have a timeline of all the cool things of Grand Valley's history. The Lip Dub is on that timeline.
Oh, cool. That's really sweet. Yeah, it's funny. It's because it's a product of its time too. Like the trend was obviously a product of its time. We shot it on a camera that was mini DV, for Christ's sake. I mean, It was, if we did it today, you could do it in so many different ways. I would probably shoot the whole thing on a drone, and you could do some really crazy, movements and go over buildings and whatnot. But it's still special to me how it turned out, because it was appropriate for its time and place.
It really was, yeah.
Very special, and certainly
and
a part of
the level that we were at. I mean, you were a senior, but there was, everybody from freshman all the way up was working on this. And I've had some students say, I showed it in class I don't show it a lot. And then I realized I need to show this because we were talking about audio, and I showed it last semester to Media One, and they said, well, we want to do that. Why can't we do a video? Let's think of what we can do. And so everybody was thinking about doing something through Zoom, like some real bizarre thing through Zoom. Another product of its time.
Yeah, right.
So still having an effect today, and certainly part of Grand Valley history. So thanks for talking about this.
Yeah, thank you, Randy.
Yeah, appreciate the little mini reunion. It's good to see you guys.
Oh, so good to see you, Greg. I'm so glad you're still happily employed, and they are lucky to have you.
Appreciate it. Yes.
We should probably mention, you mentioned a couple times you got the job you have now. Do you want to, so what job is that you got from this Lip Dub?
I'm actually a broadcast producer at an advertising agency. So I help, do produce commercials for, TV and online. And yeah, they at the time they reached out and they said they saw the Lip Dub and they wanted to, talk to the people that made it. And that was in the fall. And then that spring I was hired, like I think 2 weeks out of school. So, I didn't plan on getting into advertising. I went to school for film, so I kind of was thinking I was going to end up in the film world ultimately. And at the time too, Michigan had tax incentives, so there was a bunch of movies being shot. So I was like, I kind of assumed I was going to end up on those, all the sets that were happening around town. But before I graduated, they ended up pulling the plug on those incentives. So for one reason or another, I've been at, it's called Donor Advertising. I've been there for the last 10 years and I've kind of grown into it and I've learned a lot and I've taken what I've learned from Grand Valley with me and it's been a journey.
Right. And correct me if I'm wrong, but at Donor, you have worked on some Super Bowl commercials, right?
In some capacity. I haven't personally produced Super Bowl commercials in their final stage, but I worked on rips and the early proof of concepts of those concepts, and we do like kind of we do like a pre-edit. We call them rips, where we pull footage from different things to kind of make the concept come to life to sell it. And I've worked on that aspect of Super Bowl spots, but I've worked on various commercials, for a bunch of different brands, and some are cool and some are less cool, but it's the job.
That's very cool. We'll definitely probably want to have you on for an Alumni Live just to talk about all the stuff you're doing.
Cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So I think we're about at our half-hour limit here for both of you. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about that we didn't get in the interview?
I'll probably when I get off here, I'll think of lots of things, but
yeah, right.
That's how it goes, huh?
It was really fun. And I would say that it was really cool too at the time where some people in the community got really excited about this. They'd heard about it and they got a hold of Greg and they ended up putting cameras on the truck or the golf cart or the sports cart or whatever. And that's how we got the footage of Louis getting hit. Which shows Lucas with the camera being thrown right off the cart, and it was pretty rough.
Yeah, I think the video of us hitting Louis is on YouTube, but in the credits on the Lip Dub is the audio from us hitting Louis. So if you watch the credits, you can hear us like going along, and all of a sudden it's it goes silent, and we all start laughing and stuff. So I'm just glad he was okay. Like for a second there, I thought we might have broke his leg or something.
Yeah. And so, because this was on tape. So what they would do is they'd run the tape to me, and I was with the president's assistant, Terry Losey. She and I would watch it really quick and see what tweaks we needed to make. And then I would communicate to Greg, and I was not very good at it first. Greg had to kind of train me, but we hadn't practiced this. And I was saying, well, it's a little too long here, this or that. And he goes, Kim, you got to get to the point. You got to get to the point. We're setting up. And so I learned a lot that day, but so we just had to keep tweaking it and fixing, what didn't quite work. And then by number 7, we got it. And by number 8, we were getting tired. 9 and 10, we were like really getting tired. We were starting to lose people. And so, lucky 7.
Yeah, no, it worked out. And, shout out to the one tuba player that showed up. We had asked for the whole band and just the tuba player showed up. So shout out to that guy. And shout out to all the random students that we just grabbed. Because I think the mass majority of the people in the whole band section where we go around and at the end, I think those were just grabbed like, hey, we're doing a take right now. Can you stand here for 5-10 minutes? They were not like part of our team necessarily. So shout out to all the students that just went with it and were good, team players.
Absolutely. And the same thing with the people on the bus at the end. We just shoved everybody that was going near. We shoved them on the bus, gave them an umbrella and said, come out of the umbrella and lift up your or come out of the bus and put your umbrella up. And that was pretty fun. We kind of had a plan for the G at the end. And that was another thing we had to add at the end, because the GV logo wasn't exactly as perfect as we wanted it to be. So then we had to add the graphic.
Right.
So when I had you take that down, we had to add that back in.
Yep.
So got the logo in. So
I'm personally really glad that it took 7 takes to get it right, because I was in class for those first 6, and then I got to run out of Ensemble Hall and join that band group for that 7th take. So I made it in.
Don't you love that band? Oh my gosh, that band.
Yeah, that's definitely one of my favorite memories. Like being able to have the privilege to just be able to ride on that car and just have that whole crowd of students. I mean, they were acting, but they were like looking like they were having a blast and shouting and screaming and stuff. And it was just such a unique experience, and to have it, captured on film for forever is really special to me.
Yeah. Me too. Well, Randy, again, thanks for doing this. We really appreciate it, and it's good to go down memory lane.
Yeah. Bringing back all the memories. Thanks, Randy.
Good. I'm glad. No, that's what these are for. It's kind of, like you said, like a little reunion, and then also, just to put all these things on tape. That's
well, if these students get serious about wanting to do something, we're going to hire Greg as a consultant.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I served as a semi-consultant on the Grand Rapids Lip Dub afterwards. I think they were inspired by us, that Rob Bliss put on, and that one turned out really great too. That was quite ambitious. But I would just say to students, go for it, try ambitious stuff, take risks, and you never know what one thing will lead to the next and what will inspire someone else. So go for it.
We actually end up doing the Clark retirement lip dub after that. I don't know if
right. Yeah. And that got a lot of press too. Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Bublé. Yeah, it really did play well. In fact, somebody flew in from London to come and interview the students. And when Michael Bublé came back 2 years later, he gave us 100 seats at his concert. He loved it so much. But
that's great.
Yeah. The average performer was 80 years old. And Alan Ledford, that was a real challenge, trying to get these seniors to focus for their rehearsals.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, that was fun. But yeah, that led to that one. So,
Greg, do I have the timeline right in my head that you did you AD'd the summer film first, and then this was later that same year? Did those skills help you with the logistics of this?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think you have that right. Yeah, I did the summer film twice. I did the summer prior in 2009, and then I first AD'd the summer film in 2010. So while we were doing the summer film, we were also talking to T-Haas and getting permission and lining up a lot of the logistics for the lip dub. So, but absolutely, I was first AD on the summer film, and I'm sure, stuff I learned on there help me and to be more confident to yell and scream at a group of people to get stuff done. So, that was a busy year. It was the summer film that summer, lip dub in the fall that was outside of my normal curriculum. And then I had 16 millimeter and my senior thesis all that year. So it was a lot of productions going on.
Right. I think that's a great example too of just all the professional experience that Grand Valley provides its students. Like I think that, you really did make multiple things actually that year that are very professional, and just a great way to showcase skills.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's definitely one of Grand Valley's strengths that I assume they still are doing. And, it's the film programs are often, you kind of get what you put into it. So, you can kind of phone it in if you want, or you can get crazy and make a lip dub for no reason.
That's right.
Get crazy.
Stay crazy. That's what I say. Yeah, stay crazy.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for coming and hanging out.
Oh, all right. Thank you.
Good to see y'all.